Are we ready? We're ready. We're so ready. We're so ready. We are back in St. Helena at the Napa Valley Film Festival at the Carnegie Building, St. Helena Wine Pavilion, round 2 with the TasteLive and Cellar Pass folks. I am the mutineer, Alan Kropf, and we are talking some awesome Napa wine. We got Brian Graham right here from
Ramian Estate.
Ramian Estate.
Yep.
That's how we're doing it. And you guys are at this, the Savor tasting room?
Absolutely.
And I want to know more about this because I've not been yet, but every time I drive through St. Helena, there's a buzz of activity right there. What's going on there?
There's a lot of small wineries in Napa that can't have their own tasting room. So what's happened is 10 wineries have gotten together to do a collective private tasting room. I am one of the 10 at the tasting room.
Beautiful. And how long have you guys been doing that?
Opened this year. We're in our infancy. 4 months now live. Going good. Going very well.
Nice.
So.
And we have been geeking out over this wine right here.
Oh, cool. Thank
this
you.
Merlot is very awesome, and I'm excited to see what our blogger and Twitter friends have to say about it. But it's very juicy. It's very fruity. It's very open. It's very awesome.
When Merlot is good, it's great. So every couple of years, I'll bottle 2 or 3 or 4 barrels that are just so much better than the rest, just to show how great Merlot actually can be.
And this is coming from the Canard Vineyard. Tell me a little bit about that.
Canard Vineyard is one of the actually oldest planted vineyards in the Napa Valley. Originally planted in the early 1800s. It was part of the Donner family when General Vallejo marched into California out of Mexico, so it's been planted for a really long time.
Wow.
We actually have some of the oldest Zinfandel in the Napa Valley at 120 years old. Cab and Merlot and Cab Franc, our Bordeaux varietals, are there, and just an amazing piece of soil.
And what other bottlings do you guys plan with?
Pure Cab, and then we have an Old Vine Zin, and then I do a couple of Bordeaux blends.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you doing production-wise with this Merlot?
This is actually 84 cases.
Okay.
It's the 3 best barrels of Merlot that I had.
Wow.
That's the thing, is I only put it in the bottle for Ramian if it's perfect.
Okay.
So everything I do for Ramian is somewhere between 100 and 200 cases.
Okay.
Most of it goes to our wine club and through Savor, our tasting room. It's fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you make this particular bottling every year?
No.
No?
Only when the Merlot is perfect.
When the Merlot is perfect.
It's hard because people have this level of conception about Merlot being, generic and weedy and green. And what we're trying to do is show that, every once in a while, I'll pour this at a tasting and not tell people what it is, and they'll think it's Cab.
Okay.
And then you go back and you tell them it's Merlot, and it's great to see people go, holy crap, I found a Merlot that's actually really cool.
And what are some of the traits in a great Merlot that you look for?
Well, it's got black fruit. It's black fruit dominant, just like a Cab, but it's the silkiness and the tannin structure in Merlot that sets it apart. It's softer, it's fatter, it has a bigger mid palate, but the tannins aren't quite as long as Cab.
Okay.
So it's a little more easy drinking, but when they're great, they're dense and they're dark, just like a Cabernet would be.
And I'd assume you're finding most of that stuff in here.
Absolutely.
There we go. And what's the time frame on this wine for you?
I call it a forever and a day. I mean, this wine will age for quite a long time.
Nice.
Probably not quite as long as a Cab because it doesn't have the tannin structure.
Yeah.
The length, but it's going to drink great for at least 3 to 5 years.
And can you talk about the production process on this wine?
It gets treated just like my reserve Cab, cold soak, generally between 5 and 6 days. Extended maceration, and then this was actually in the barrel for 2 years.
Okay.
So 24 months.
Wow.
And the idea behind that is you're creating something that the longer it's in the barrel, the more age-worthy the wine is.
Okay. Can you talk about those barrels?
French oak, always. I don't actually add my French oak in until January of the next year, so a couple months later.
Okay.
The reason I do that is I let the wine tell me how much it'll, if it's a bad vintage or a bad varietal or it's not quite where it needs to be, there's no reason to pump 100% new French oak into it. So generally I have somewhere between 50 and 75% new French oak every year.
And how are you feeling about the vintage we just wrapped up, 2011?
My 14th year in Napa, and it was the hardest one I've ever had.
Wow.
But we've got some pretty cool wines in the bottle, in the tank, and getting ready to go to barrel, and it's fun.
Is there any silver lining to a vintage that presents the challenges like 2011?
Yeah, I think that the last one that really got panned was 2000. And all the wine writers said how bad the vintage was and don't buy these wines and they're overrated. And what they're finding now is they're going back and it's the whoops effect. We shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
The wines are different, but they're great. They're more elegant, they're not as big. And I think that's the fun part of odd vintages or different vintages.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bloggers. We have bloggers ready
Hi
to
guys,
chime
this is
in.
Colin. I just wanted to let you know the bloggers are going crazy over this wine.
Thank you.
The comments are coming in fast and furious. We have things, lots of tannins on the palate. They can tell the best Merlot barrels were reserved for this bottling. The blackberry is given way to more dark fig, plum, really dense forest notes with nice firm tannins. Someone else said something about Hello Lover when it came to this wine, but they're really loving it. And someone said I'm going to have some serious leftovers for tomorrow.
Cool. Any questions?
No questions. They don't have questions. They're just in passionate love with this wine. So they're expounding on the flavors, the aromas. There's nothing generic about this wine. 08 Ramian Canard Vineyard Merlot. Hello Lover. So no questions yet. I think
that's a good sign.
I think they're blown away by the wine, so they can't focus on actually asking you questions.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
That's good.
You said you've been here 14 vintages in Napa.
Yeah.
What are some of the vintages that stand out to you as being exceptional?
To be honest with you, my favorite vintage so far is 03. It was a hot vintage. It was another vintage that was very difficult. But those difficult years really, when you're not only making the wine, but you also own it, there's something else that you're doing when you're there. You're worried about money and you're worried about whether or not you spent good money on grapes and, and to have a wine 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years later just drink so good, it keeps you going. 03 and 05 are my favorite vintages to date since 96 and 97. So.
It appears that you got some fanboys and ladies that you're creating in real time here with these bloggers tuning in. What if they want to get some bottles of their own? What's the best way, given that you are such small production?
My wife and I, we do everything ourselves. So literally email me, call me. I have 2 phones in my pocket, and we do everything ourselves.
Okay.
Ramianestate.com. Send me an email. I'm the one that actually answers. So
hard to beat that. Yeah. Last call for questions.
No?
There we go. Well, thank you for stopping by. We really appreciate it. Your wine was very well received.
Thanks, guys.
Brian Graham from Ramian.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
We'll be back here at the Carnegie Building in St. Helena, Napa Valley Film Festival, Taste Live and Cellar Pass. I am the Mutineer Alan Kropf. Back for more very soon. Stay tuned. Get more glasses. Get snacks. Use the restroom. All that kind of stuff, because once we get going again, it's not going to stop. So let's do it.
Cheers.